right, guys. So today we're just going to go over Amazon FBA. I just wanted to talk to you briefly about the opportunity that exists. And I know that you've heard about it, I know you hear about it, but Amazon FBA is huge. And what FBA stands for is Fulfillment by Amazon. So essentially, once you have your product research done, once you've figured out what market you want to go into and the products that you want to go into it with, that are all data-driven decisions, so that you know your odds and kind of what's currently working in the marketplace, what's selling well, and where there's opportunity, you can then take those products and, without ever touching them and without ever storing them yourselves, have a supplier that is overseas that ends up creating these for you, leaving you a good profit margin once you leverage certain tactics that we're going to go over, and then from there be able to ship that to Amazon. Amazon's going to store those for you. When someone orders your product from their site, they're going to ship them out, handle the billing and all of the payments, and then pay you every 2 weeks for this. And on top of that too, they're going to run customer service. So with that being said, huge opportunity. Let's briefly walk through all the steps to this and we'll take it from there.
Amazon FBA and what the business model actually is, because I think there's a lot of confusion around this. So when people hear FBA, they automatically think people are selling private label products. That's not necessarily true. That's really where I've found is the best way to do it. But understand, when you go onto Amazon and you see something as Prime eligible and is listed for a Prime item, all those listings, Amazon isn't necessarily selling those. Most of them are third-party people like you and me that have gone through this methodology, and this is just kind of a brief overview of what it actually is. What does this entail? So you can do this multiple different ways, but for today, let's talk about private label, okay? So the biggest part is this first square right here, okay? You're going to spend the majority of your time trying to figure out which product or which niche do you want to go into, because this whole thing doesn't work unless you do this part correctly, all right? So once you do your research and you find the product that you want to go into, okay? Let's, just for instance, let's say yoga mats, okay? That's a simple example, and if you go look and do the research, that's not something you want to enter, I promise. But it's just super saturated, but it's a super simple example, all right? So you went and found that, and you found that the numbers and the data looked good, and we're going to go over this in a different video. But with those numbers, you say, okay, this is what I want. So then you're going to go on to AliExpress.com, and you're going to find a supplier, okay? You're not going to find one. You want to find anywhere from 3 to 5, and these need to have trade assurance and also need to be, verified suppliers as well. So with doing this, you're making sure that you're quality products, okay? And with the logo that you come up with, because you want a private label, you want the rights to that brand. That's the whole premise of what we're doing here. And you're going to get quotes from 3 to 5. And with those quotes, you're going to leverage them against one another, okay? And negotiating with suppliers is something we can get into, but it's a key component of this as well, all right? Because your profit margin matters dramatically based off how you can source your products and what kind of a deal you can get from those suppliers. So once you've done that, the hardest part that you're going to do is over with to begin with, okay? So the green is now the manufacturer, okay? So that manufacturer is now going to create your products, and you're going to pay for an inspection. You're going to make sure that the quality of the goods is sound. You need at least 2 months of inventory. I'm going to stress this again and again because this is a mistake I made originally. But 2 months, okay, private label, they're going to create these, and then they're going to ship to Amazon. And there's 2 different methodologies of shipping. You can do it via air freight or via sea. Air is a lot faster, but it's also a lot more expensive. So depending on A, the amount of capital you have, but B, also basically your time frame and how big and how heavy your product is, because obviously everyone teaches you want it to be small and to fit in a shoebox and to be a hard good and all these parameters that I don't necessarily agree are true, because if you're going against the grain, you're that much more likely to strike something that is going to do very, very well for you. And I've found traditionally for me, if someone tells me to do something, I usually do the opposite, or I listen to them and go do whatever I was going to do anyway. So understand that there's some parameters that should help you get started in theory, but also, just because someone says that it has to fit in a shoebox and has to be under 1.5 pounds, don't necessarily buy into that, okay? We'll talk more about this as well, and this goes back to product research. But they're going to be shipped to Amazon using a freight forwarder. They are some stateside, but they are far more expensive. So we can talk about how to find a good one. But basically, the idea is once those ship to Amazon, okay, everything in blue is now Amazon's doing, okay? Once they land in an Amazon warehouse, It's going to take a few days before it actually shows up in your Seller Centrals account, and we'll go over setting that up. But understand that the basic premise is that you're going to figure out a product, find a supplier, they're going to create it, they're going to ship it to Amazon using a third-party, freight forwarder, and then once it's there, you have your listing set up, okay? And you're going to be doing this while these steps are happening. And once it hits, you're going to have everything set up, all right? And the idea is once it's sitting there, you're not housing inventory because this is at Amazon. When someone buys that order, or places an order for your product rather, literally Amazon does all of that. They're going to pull it from their warehouse, they're going to package it up, and they're going to send it to the customer. You're not doing any of this. Amazon also handles customer service. Okay, the biggest thing about Amazon is Amazon itself and the amount of traffic you get simply by using their platform. Now understand that they take a fee for multiple things, but part of it is warehouse, part of it's a referral fee just for using their traffic, and there's different percentages and there's different ways to kind of negotiate through that. Some of it though, just understand when you're figuring out profit margins, when you're figuring out which products, when you're figuring out all these other things, there's a lot of data that comes into this, and we can go through that, and the data matters, okay? Follow the data. Don't just be, I think I really like this idea for a product. I am going to go do this. Or, hey, I just invented this great thing. Amazon is not the channel to go and distribute your new invention, okay? Things that have sold consistently and done well, and the data is there to back it up, and you have an opportunity in the marketplace to come in and differentiate yourself, this is a great model for that. So, but once that happens, once a customer buys your item off of Amazon, they're going to pay you, and they're going to pay you every 2 weeks to start. Okay. And they're going to automatically deduct any fees that you acquire, for their warehousing, for their referrals, for any pay-per-click advertising you run. They're just automatically going to take that out, and then you get to see what's left. So this is kind of just a very brief rundown of how this model works. Now I'm going to jump back, talk to you, and we're going to just kind of work through the next steps, but I just wanted to have a visualization so people understood kind of how this thing flows.
Guys, so one other thing too that right now is huge is stop thinking about just the United States. Yes, that's the biggest marketplace, but Amazon is expanding drastically. And, the UK, Australia, other places in Europe, like you have so much opportunity to go and enter those marketplaces. And actually the barrier of entry and competition there is lower. So understand that there is a huge opportunity overseas and abroad. And also if you can establish in the United States, you can scale internationally. So there's a huge opportunity right now with this business model. And yes, there's multiple ways to use FBA, right? You could go to Costco or to Sam's Club or to, whatever it is, BJ's, and with that, go and find products that you have a profit margin on and then send them into Amazon and have them resell it for a slight profit. But overall, private label and creating your own products and creating a brand around that is huge. And Amazon is an accelerator in doing that. Now, we will get into the more advanced of once you've established on Amazon with, anywhere from 3 to 5 products, how you can take that off of there and how you can go to Shopify and how you can go to your own domain and drastically expand that brand. And that gives you the right to all of your customers, because there's one flaw with Amazon, and that's really that you don't get to have their email addresses. You don't get to have all of their information. And that's, kind of critical today in actually building your own brand and building an audience and having people that you can go and, announce product launches to and announce that you're going to, you're doing this new product, you're doing this new program that's coming up, and building hype around that, and even getting stuff pre-sold. So understand that Amazon is huge. It's a catapult. It's a great way to start. The cost up front, and if you do your homework correctly, it's really not that much of a risk, and the passive, quote unquote, passive income you can create from it is huge. So do not miss out on this. 2019 is going to be killer, and I'll be trying to post these almost every day. Join the Side Hustle Entrepreneur Facebook group. Follow me on Instagram at Cochran Commerce, and let's get it.